For the Unit 9 participation activity and also the assignment, we're going to work with this app and look at menus that we can add to this and set this up. You're going to create this from scratch. It's going to have some app bar menus here, something for adding a study mate and emailing your study mates. And then a couple other things: deleting, sending text to study mates, and also a settings thing. Much of this functionality we won't implement, so like often when you click add, you'll just pop up a little message that says add not implemented yet. We will just pop up the intents for email and SMS. We will have a second activity, so when you go to the settings, it will bring up a second activity here, and then you can go back to the main one. We can also program this floating button to open up the email intent. That's what we'll do with the participation stuff. In the actual assignment, you'll work with this action drawer that pops up and modify this for your things. So that's what you'll be doing for that. So let's look at how this works. We're going to start from a blank project and start from there. So you're going to create a new project and give it some name. And set it up. Usually we, again, some sort of minimum SDK. I usually use API 21. Now here's the important thing: we're not going to use an empty activity, and we're not even going to use a basic activity. We're going to scroll on here and use for the first activity this navigation drawer activity. So select that. You can leave all these things the same and finish that up. So once this starts up, let's just look at the layouts. Layouts are getting a little more complicated. So it opens up this content main, which is your kind of main screen you'll see. And in here you could change kind of the idea behind this is that it's simple app for finding study mates that you might want to add a study partner or email them, that sort of stuff. So I'm just going to change that around so we have the words there. But again, that's in content main. Now usually we look at activity main for doing that sort of stuff, but activity main is an overall layout that includes this navigation drawer or tie into this navigation drawer. So that's activity main, and then the actual navigation drawer is mapped out here in this nav header. This is the header part of that activity drawer. And then the app bar is this top bar here, and the format of that is set there. So again, generally we won't be modifying activity main, we won't be modifying app bar. You will be doing a little bit in the assignment. You can modify the header here, but most of the work would actually be done in this content main. So then let's look at adding some menus to this. So we're going to add 4 menus: an add, a delete, a settings, an email, and an SMS, a text message menu here. So we're going to bring in icons for all 5 of those here, and then add the menus for that. So let's look at how we do that. First, we want to work on bringing in the icons themselves. Now you can go, there's a link in the website so you can download them, but these are all standard ones, so we can actually import them directly here. I can just right click on the resources folder, say new, and we're going to use vector assets for this. Vector assets, we're going to use the material icons. So just click on the icon here and you can select different ones. I'm just going to select I'm going to type in add and find just this generic add icon, hit OK, hit next, bring that in. And again, that will show up under your drawables here. It'll show up here. So I'm going to add a new vector icon. And again, each time I'm just going to click here. I'm going to have a delete one. And then we need ones for the settings, and then one for email and one for SMS. So just bring in those 4 icons. So I have the add, delete, email, settings, and SMS icons all here. Now I'm going to start working on the menus themselves. Now there's menu layouts, but they're not under the layout thing. They're under the special menu folder, and I'm going to use the main menu. The main menu is going to be displayed up in the app. When you work on the pop-out activity drawer, that's under this activity drawer menu. So I'm going to use this main menu and set this up. We haven't done this too much. So again, this is our menu, and visually I can just drag. Generally you want to just use these menu items and bring them down here and add them to your thing. I'm just going to add a set of menus, drag them down into my interface here. So I'm going to want 5 menus: add, delete, settings, email, and SMS. So I guess settings is going to be that one. So each one of these we'll just go through and set this. We're going to give it an ID. In general, standard names for IDs for menus are always action underscore and then something. So action.add for the add menu. The title is what you want to display. So again, I could type this in, but I really should be storing this in a resource file. So I'm just going to click here, say add new resource, new string resource, and add it in here. I just want it to say add. I can leave the rest of that the same. So now it's tied that into the add resource and put it up here. The icon, again, I imported my icons. I should be able to just select that and add it here. Now default it shows up in this drop down menu here. I want you to select a couple to put up here, so let's do that right away. So show action, I'm going to say always, and that will make sure it's always up here. So that was the add menu. Delete menu, similar here, action underscore delete. Change this, add a string resource, action delete, and I just want it to say delete. And grab the delete icon. And this one I'm going to leave down here, so I'm not going to worry about this text. I'm just going to leave it blank for the show actions. So do this for all these options. So I've got my 5 menu items here. I put the add and the SMS. Again, you can just force 2 of them or so up there, and the rest are down here. And I've got them all with both icons and strings set up. So now I have that menu set up. I should again remember these ID names, because I'll have to use those in my code for just a sec. So then we're going to set up the actual code for what these do in our main menu. So we're going to change the add and delete here to do things. So let's go look at the code. So the code is going to be in the main activity. The main activity is getting pretty complicated now. We have the on crate here, and inside that is our floating action bar. So again, when we run this, there'll be the floating plus or the email action down there. And again, right now it just pops up a snack bar warning, but we'll want to probably send an email, pop up the email messages there. I'm just going to copy that snack bar message so I can use it down below. Again, there's some things here for when to set up the menus and inflate them and tie them to the XML things. Here on option item selected, this is where we actually put in the code for each menu item, and right now that just has the settings menu because that's the default one. So just checking for the ID. If the ID from the menu is the action settings, it just returns true. What I want to do here is open up the settings file and do that run that code. So we want to create a second activity to do that in just a sec, but I'm going to set this up so that we have if then code for all of the menus. So I'm just going to copy this and set it up for each of the menu items. So now I've just copied and pasted the change, but I have all my action IDs, my menu IDs here. So I have an if then will be run for each of these. Maybe not the best choice for using repetitive if statements, but we'll just live with that for today. Now, for example, when we do add or delete, I want to just pop up a menu that's saying add study mates isn't available yet. So let's do that. There's already up here a snack bar option under the floating action button thing. So I'm just going to take that and pop it down here, put it in this place, and I'm going to change it, the text that pops up, and say add study mates not implemented yet, or something, whatever, something like that. Now, one thing I will see is that the view is not working here. And again, sometimes, again, we have some issues with this context or views for this. I'm just going to grab the code from the assignment here, and this actually grabs the view from the window. I'm going to grab that message and put that in here. Oops, maybe I'll spell it correctly. Okay, so now that'll work correctly within this context. And so I want to do the same thing for the delete. For the settings, I want you to create a second activity that you pop up. So let's just do that real quick, show you how to do that. And again, we're going to create a second activity maybe with some a little more, not just an empty activity. So again, over here, I'm just going to right click and do new activity. And I'm going to scroll down to the basic activity here. Now if you want one with a navigation drawer, there's actually one down here below that you can't see. We don't need, I don't think, a navigation drawer. We'll just do the basic activity, not the empty activity, just the base activity. I'm going to use, this will be for setting up my settings. So I'm just going to call it settings activity. I can leave everything else the same. Finish that up. So that'll set up this settings activity for me to use. Now I'm just going to connect up to that settings activity from my main activity. So again, when I select the settings, I'm going to run that. So I'm just copying and pasting code from our previous unit where we called another activity. See, I've got import this class. Okay, so I'm declaring a settings intent, and I've declared again my settings activity here. So I'm just using that class here, and then I'm saying start that activity. So again, just 2 lines to start up that second activity here. So for the email and SMS, we'll want to just add implicit instance to start up the email or the SMS. We're not going to don't spend too much time on this. I mean, I guess just grab the code that you did. This was back in Unit 6 where we did this sort of stuff. We actually, we would have in our app somehow have the email address in here that we could fill in. Right now, I'm just filling in the subject, saying, "Hey, study partner," or something like that. So just do some sample code here. This is just a participation activity, just a kind of demonstration that you could do this. And again, then we're just starting the activity. I guess we're checking, make sure there's an activity, an app out there that can handle that activity. As long as that's not null, then we're starting up the activity. So again, I just grabbed this code from Unit 6 example and sending out an email. Same with the SMS, put that in here. So that's most of the stuff you have to do for this participation activity. The last thing, the floating action bar, again, we want to do the mail to thing. So again, I've got that set up here. I'm just going to copy this code. I should actually probably put it in a method, but just going to copy and paste it right now. So up here, again, in the main activity, on create, there's a floating action button and there's an on-click listener for that. And right now it's popping up a snack bar message. I'm going to keep that there, I guess, and also do the email intents when you click on that. So that should be all of this. Again, as I kind of note here, I don't want you to spend too much time on this. Just get the functionality work. You will have to do more, do the same sort of stuff for the assignment. So again, I don't expect you to spend more than an hour on this part of the participation activity. Just get the basic menu set up. So your final solution should have menus up here, a couple icons at the top, and then the rest of the menus up here. The settings should go to the settings second activity. And some of these will just pop up a message down below. You should have this tied, the floating action bar tied to an email message. And set that up. And so that's the participation stuff. When you do the assignment, you'll set up this navigation bar menu with the same sort of stuff: an add, a delete, a settings, a text, and an email, with the same functionality as you have over there. So you probably want to just modify this heading and then this menu here. You'll find the header in the layouts, and then the navigation drawer menu here. You should hopefully you'll be able to modify it simpler, and then you'll have to look in the main activity for the code for doing those activities. Okay, good luck.